Now we are going to turn to our first panel of speakers, experts and students, who will present their own work and examples of acting locally on issues related to food, water, and equity. Next, we are excited for our first panel, Food, Water, and Equity, featuring the following panelists. So I'm going to name them and give a little description of each one as they set up the table. First, we have Linda Robles Soshi, and she's the owner of Environmental Justice Task Force. In 2021, she served as a community perspective member of President Biden's White House Council of Environment Quality, as well as the Biden EPA administration's PFAS Council. Currently, Linda also serves as a co-chair of the Sierra Club New Nogales group in Tucson. So she'll be joining us shortly. We have one panelist, unfortunately, who could not join us today unexpectedly, and that was Dr. Laurel Bellante. So unfortunately, we won't be able to hear her speak, but we thank her for her future endeavors with us. Next, we have Dr. Tiffany Amaret Young, and she is a sociology faculty member at Pima Community College, received her PhD in sociology from Texas A&M University in 2021, and is also certified at Pima in African American Studies and Climate Action and Sustainability. She incorporates community-engaged scholarship in the classroom to help students better understand and respond to issues of food, health, and sustainability. Our next panelist is Lorena Hernandez, and she is a first-generation Latina from immigrants to citizenship parents. Born and raised here in Tucson, in a Tucson barrio, a proud Tucsonan with the privilege of being immersed in both cultures. When not enjoying a good book, Lorena spends most of her time with her loving family. And then our final panelist is Jonathan Tapia, and he's currently pursuing an IT specialist certificate here at Pima with plans on transferring to the University of Arizona. His academic interests also include eco-justice, sustainability, transborder issues within our communities, and educational disparities within Hispanic, Latino, and indigenous communities. Both Lorena and Jonathan are current Mexican-American Studies students here at Pima Community College. If you would like more details about our speakers, please consult the full program online and on your Padlet. Please help me welcome our first of two panels of speakers.
Yes, hi. I'm happy to be here today. I will really thank you guys for being here and giving me the opportunity to be part of this, especially Francisca and the panel. Sorry. Okay, great, thank you. Okay, hi. Working? Better? Okay. My name is Linda Robles. I am the owner and founder of the Environmental Justice Task Force. I first wanted to say thank you for Francisca for giving me the opportunity to be here today to speak. I have lived my entire life here in Tucson, Arizona, born and raised in the Tucson Southside community. I have 8 children, wonderful husband, and a very large family, many great-grandchildren as well. So I'm gonna have a little bit of trouble here trying to keep up with this, but okay. Sorry, you guys. All right, my discussion is gonna be a little bit hard because I wasn't expected to hold this while I was talking. Here we go. Is that better? There we go. Oh, that's try our best. All right. Sorry. All right, well, so my presentation is from the PFAS contamination to exposure cleanup and beyond in Tucson, Arizona. My discussion begins with, for the last 7 decades here in Tucson, the disposal of PFAS and other toxic wastes have devastated the south side of Tucson, Arizona. A little bit of site background. Since 1983, the EPA designated the Tucson International Airport as a federal Superfund site due to TCE groundwater contamination, but the EPA never cleaned up the site. Later, around 2002, 1,4-dioxane was also discovered at the site, in addition to the TCE contamination that originally sparked the concerns. Again, later after that, 2012, mixtures of PFAS were also discovered in multiple Southside public water wells, in addition to the other toxic chemicals. While the airport was designated a federal national priority listed Superfund site in 1981, the remediation of the site is long, slow, and disposal of PFAS-containing waste is continually. I strongly believe that all people have a right to have access to clean water, clean, safe, affordable water. I don't believe that the people in Tucson deserve better than this. Since the 1970s, the Tucson International Airport, Arizona Air National Guard, Air Force Plant 44 in Tucson has historically used and discharged aqueous firefighting foams, also known as AFFF for short, on site in the event of the fire or to use for training. Year after year after year, the foam was dumped into the bare ground at these sites, where it later seeped and contaminated all of our underlying groundwater resources, also migrated into other nearby waterways. Eventually it created a toxic plume underneath countless Tucson Southside homes, where our children live, work, learn, they play in those neighborhoods, while those chemicals are in our water and seeping into our bodies day and night. As early as the 1970s, oops, I'm so sorry, here we go. As early as the 1970s, I gave birth to children with birth defects. In 2007, I lost a daughter to a rare form of kidney cancer. She also suffered lupus. Later, after my daughter passed away, one of my other children was diagnosed with kidney disease and lupus as well. After that, my son Joseph was also diagnosed with male lupus and a rare form of skin diseases. Later after that, in around 2011, one of my daughters gave birth to a child with birth defects. 2013, my grandbaby was also diagnosed with kidney disease. My 5-year-old niece later, in 2007, she died of a brain cancer, brain tumor. She was only 5 years old. You know what really hurts is when she asked her mommy while she was going through chemo. She asked her mommy, "Mommy, why am I not pretty anymore?" We named her Princess Mia. In 2019, my husband was also diagnosed with prostate cancer and had to undergo cancer treatment and continues to get medical monitoring. Many people in my community have also suffered similar diseases and losses as well. So you can see the picture behind me. That is my husband and I, and my daughter and I. May she rest easy now. Influencing my community, it began for these reasons and more. I gave birth to the Environmental Justice Task Force in 2014 to organize our community residents here in Tucson and to fight and advocate for stronger health protections. In 2017, I also helped formed the National PFAS Contamination Coalition. To push for PFAS drinking water regulations and to hold polluters accountable and to avert the repetition of harms that was being caused on the people to prevent other people from getting sick, like my family. From 2021, as they mentioned, I served as the President Biden's White House CEQ and EPA's PFAS Council. In 2024, just a few weeks ago, thank God, the President Biden signed our PFAS bill and now has, for the first time ever, signed an enforceable drinking water regulations for PFAS. Yeah. I'll show the picture there. I don't know, it's not showing the pictures I had from this. Yeah. Thank you, thank you. Okay, well, it doesn't show. I don't see. This is a different presentation, so it's hard keeping up with it here from here. So, there we go. Try to keep up with it. Where is that page? Well, then I'll just follow it from over there. So PFAS are a large class of over 14,000 fluorinated chemicals that have been found all over. They're widespread. It's everywhere. They're everywhere. They're in every 50 states. Namely, they've been found within over 5,000 public water systems across the United States. In short, here in Tucson, Arizona, PFAS have been they've been linked to nearby military Air Force bases, airport as well. All these areas are greatly affecting the local residents here in Tucson. The community, unknowingly of the risk, has been using this water for decades. They've been drinking it, showering in it, bathing in it, cleaning with that water. Didn't even know the risk for decades. Efforts to clean up and address the contamination are underway, but solutions are going to be long, lengthy, and slow, just like the TCE contamination. Gives us very little bit of hope of it ever getting cleaned up. Again, I think we already did this one here. So we did PFAS. Okay, so health effects associated with PFAS include dangerous pregnant women, developmental effects into the unborn child, immunotoxicity, increased cholesterol, among many other diseases, cancers as well. Sources of exposure on PFAS have been mainly ingesting drinking water, around 22% of that, and inhalation, I think it's 72%, and dust is 8%. How can we reduce PFAS? We can reduce PFAS easy, by just really, I believe it's through personal knowledge. I think personal knowledge is the real way of reducing PFAS. Also, you can buy, stuff like for your homes, like reverse osmosis, granular activated carbons, and those types of in-home treatment technologies that can also help reduce. And also you can, if you live near a military base or anywhere where PFAS have been discovered, you might want to call your local water companies and talk to them and see if your water is safe or if there's any PFAS in your water. I would really encourage you to do that. I don't even like to encourage people to drink or go buy bottled waters either, because they have done some studies on PFAS, and they have also found PFAS in plastics and bottled waters. 99% of the studies that they did found PFAS in the water bottles. So it's really hard. I don't know how much more we can do to reduce PFAS, but also we should also focus on transitioning into, the climate crisis, climate justice, energy justice, and environmental justice. I think that's another great way of reducing PFAS. Thank you guys all for giving me this opportunity again for sharing my presentation. We had a lot of technical issues, but we're okay. Thanks.
Everyone wants to pull them a little closer to them and just, I don't know if you introduced yourselves already, but then we can.
Testing, Allison's good. Testing. All right, well, thank you so much, Linda, for sharing your personal stories with us, right? We're honored to accept them. So while they're getting their presentation going, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce myself to you. I am Tiffany Amorete Young. I am sociology faculty here at Pima Community College. I'm also certified in African American Studies and our new designated course of Climate Action and Sustainability. I'm really excited about those classes. We'll be having a class on food, people, and planet, as Crystal mentioned earlier, and I'm super excited about it. So today I'm going to be sharing with you a very short presentation about the research that my students are doing surrounding critical food studies. But first, I would like to express my deep gratitude to plants. I thank plants, thank you. I thank plants for breath, for nourishment and energy, in the form of medicine and food, for shade and shelter, for my morning coffee, the clothes that I'm wearing now, and just so many more gifts. Plants enliven and they sustain our environment for all of us living beings on Earth, which is first and foremost our eternal home. I'm also sorry that plants do not have much to be thankful for when it concerns us humans. In the wake of modern industrialization, we have commodified the sacred. We've treated their gifts so cheaply, as evidenced from the far-reaching damages of industrial agriculture and factory farming. The consequences of a declining biodiversity, increased air and water pollution, antibiotic-resistant soil damage, animal cruelty, these things have jeopardized and implicated us all. And at the heart of our relationship to the land, to the plants, to the animals, and even to other people, is our relationship to the food, which is pervasively influenced by food systems. Now, we have many stories of food. Some stories and experiences of food are full of love, wrapped in the textures and tastes of our ancestors, carrying culture to our tongues. Other stories are of hunger, of oppression, and the tragedies of concentrated political and economic power, both domestically and globally. And it is within this very critical framework that we can also begin the restoration of the relationship between plants, people, and the animals with whom we share our home. Now, as a social scientist, it is my mission to share with my students the skills and techniques of critical inquiry, supported by empirical explorations of an ever-increasingly complicated and interconnected world. This project that I'm going to share with you is currently part of my Soc 120 Current Social Problems class, and we explore a variety of pertinent topics as shown above.
Does it work?
It's not working. Oh, no? Okay, thank you. All right, so many of my major assignments actually involve the use of participant observation and field notes. Ethnographers engage in participant observation in order to gain insight into things like cultural practices and other social phenomena. To facilitate this process, ethnographers must learn how to take useful and reliable notes regarding the details of life within their research contexts. These field notes then constitute a major part of the data, which later conclusions can be based. So for the project I'm sharing with you, we actually center qualitative research and inquiry, and we explore the lived experiences of students and their relationship to food production, food consumption, food waste, and then we connect these experiences with the major themes and topics introduced earlier in the course. So my students have three major options. They can focus their field notes on documenting their food and drink consumption for 3 days. They could regrow some kitchen scraps, which is one of my favorites, or even start or revitalize a food garden using the core seed bank, which was acquired via a seed grant from Native Seed Search. So shout out to Native Seed Search. Now, once our data has been collected, and we get a lot of data, a course data set is created by me, and my students engage in qualitative coding to analyze the data, report their findings, and connect it to secondary research, and I also ask them to reflect on their overall project. But now I want to share with you their words. Now, my students come up with so many amazing gems and connections, and I couldn't possibly share them all with you today. But I will focus on those who decided to regrow kitchen scraps and to start a garden. This is from a proclaimed first-time gardener. She says, "As I kept noticing the fungus gnats, I remembered in one of our lectures, Dr. Young mentioned that we needed to stop trying to get rid of insects just because we find them annoying and because they're part of our ecosystem. If anything, it's us humans invading their natural habitat. Because of this, I kept looking for natural ways to repel them instead of killing them. I kept finding that many pests, not just gnats, can't stand the smell of citrus. I kept some orange peels and boiled them in water for about 5 to 10 minutes. After it had cooled, I added more water, and this seemed to do the trick, as my gnat activity decreased in the next few days. I also read that orange peels also make good fertilizer, so the mixture had multiple benefits for my plants." This next student regrew kitchen scraps and documented her experiences over a week. "My son's friends asked if they could see my plants, so I allowed them. I took pictures of them, observing them. They seemed very fascinated, thought it was cool. I can't wait till I get to college," they said. I told them they did not have to wait to get to college to regrow kitchen scraps. You can do it any time. She also noted, "I was excited when I saw the sprout coming out the tip of the green onions. I started laughing. I plan to keep up with my green onions and celery. I really enjoyed this assignment. It put huge smiles on all my children's faces." Now, after coding and analyzing the data, I encourage my students to report on commonalities, patterns, themes. And they shared, "After reviewing my peers' field notes and observations, I noticed a few commonalities in the notes taken and in some of the emotions that were experienced throughout the process. All of us shared the emotions of excitement at seeing our plants making progress in growth and overall expressed being surprised at the rate in which our plants grew and developed, as well as an interest in continuing to grow more plants or vegetables after the end of the course." Another student said, "Gardening does not only nourish our physical well-being, but it nourishes our mind. When I started my garden, I never expected to have such a sense of pride in it. Over the past weeks, I have been growing lettuce. Although it's been a slow process, it's been very rewarding. My garden has been a project with trial, error, success, and this is something that I can be proud of. Furthermore, I know now that I do not need to completely rely on corporations to provide food to me. I found that many of my classmates feel the same way after reviewing our field notes." And finally, in reflecting, a student said, there's a lot going on in the world for people of different statuses. Before I took this class, I was very ignorant of many of the injustices that people face, including myself, for things like race or ethnicity, gender, socioeconomic status. I also made consumption choices without informing myself of where the products were coming from or where the money I paid for said product was going. This class has made me a more conscious consumer, and I believe being a mindful consumer is key to taking part in the changes that we want to see. I've also learned that it's important to stay hopeful and to be persistent with the messages that you find important to be addressed. Overall, I'm very happy with what I've learned with the new habits I've developed because of the class, and I can't wait to further my education to give back to my community. One of the final things that we do together is, and it's always during finals, right, is that we have a native wildflower seed bomb activity. And it's also the activity that has inspired the seed bomb workshop scheduled for later this afternoon. And in conclusion, it is my hope that innovative assignments such as these plant seeds of the ecological mind, one that is committed to restoration, to healing, and ultimately to empowerment of my students. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Lorena, and I am here with my research partner, Jonathan Tapia, and both of us will be sharing our group research from our Mexican American Studies course. We will be sharing our peers' work today as they could not be here. They are Idelisa Rojas and Gabi Felix. Unfortunately, we are unable to present the format in which we gathered our research, but I hope and I highly encourage that you will link in from PCC's Padlet onto our Padlet. So what was the purpose of our research? Our aim was solely on Mexican American and Latino communities. Our focus was on climate action, sustainability, and eco-justice. Our goal was to find within these three topic areas of social injustice that is found in these communities. We utilized for the first time a multimodal platform called Padlet. All four of us had never used this platform, but with the help of our professor, Doctora Gaxiola, she guided us through it, and we became more comfortable with it. It is a great tool for presenting, and I highly encourage it. For those who don't know what Padlet is, it is a free multimodal virtual post board. It's almost like old school research meets Pinterest. And so what did I gain away from this project, from this research project? Well, the class inspired me to remember that the issues of concern that are still relevant in today's climate of social justices. It has ignited my interest in areas that I was not fully aware of its devastations in our local communities. Humanitarian aid, unaccompanied minors, equitable and healthy food options, recycling, and safe water supply. This class reminded me of this, and with that, I will share some of my research before I share Idelisa's. Do you have the Padlet up in the back? It was in the beginning, they kept running that. Okay, so I need a little bit of audience participation. So a raise of hands, and please don't be shy. How many have ever dreamed of becoming or wanting to be a garbage picker or scavenger for a living? Yeah. Yeah, some people do it and they make art and they recreate it. Unfortunately, in my research, I found that in many Latino countries, this is the case. This is their only option of survival. This is a population of hardworking people trying to support their families by wading through trash to only put food on their tables and have enough to survive. In the article that I have in my Padlet, which I'm not able to show you, it debunks a lot of the myths about scavengers. You know, not all scavengers are just homeless people, you know, wading through that. Some of them find it for a living and they create art. But for some people, when that is your only option and you can't pursue your dream, that can be very shameful, but almost a sense of pride at the same time. There was a quote within the article that said, in Brazil alone, scavenging has an annual economic impact of about $3 billion US. The World Bank estimates that about 15 million people worldwide work as scavengers. That's assuming a median income of $5 US a day. That is the equivalent of what they make scavenging just to survive. I discovered so many articles from news sources as well. But on a positive note, I also found that there is other ways that this type of activism under the 3 topics of climate action, sustainability, and eco-justice, there were so many people that were passionate, and they expressed themselves through TEDx youth videos, through dance, through poetry, through creating art of statistical graphs, and it was just an amazing way. So whether you agreed with their stance or not, you could appreciate the passion and the creativity that came with this type of artivism that we found covering all 3 topics. There is a favorite poem that I have in our Padlet by Anaïs Duplan, where he bridges the 2 cultures together, and he expresses that fighting isn't the solution, but rather sharing our abundance with one another, no matter how small. He speaks in both languages, to both sides of the community, to both sides of the border. And it was very beautiful, it was very captivating. So if you get a chance, I really encourage that. Now with that, I'd like to share some of Idelisa's words. And I will need my glasses for that one for sure. Okay. Okay, there we go. So this is Idelisa Rojas. She says, thank you all for coming, for allowing our group to share our project, which we will leave the audience asking questions and looking more into our resources. Along with Gabi and I, we were not able to make the presentation, but I want to share my thoughts on this important topic that I have learned while working with an amazing group. As a Mexican American, I learned so much about what is happening in their environment. This presentation is going to be eye-opening for everyone listening today. These resources are what needs to be heard: climate action, sustainability, and eco-justice. Now, I want to make sure that I leave time for Jonathan Tapia. So in her topic that she discussed had to do with, is it this one? Sustainability. She found that much, if not most, of Mexico do not have a recycling program in place, and the overflow of garbage is inundating their landfills. Other organizations or countries are collaborating to acquire the recyclable items from their landfills, and it is so common to see recyclable bins here in our country, but elsewhere it is a very, very rare thing to see, and it's hard to fathom that they don't have that. But this issue of not having a recyclable program kind of feeds into the issue of now they need to become scavenger and garbage pickers to wade through that trash to make a living out of it. So with that, I would like to go ahead and hand that over to my research partner, Jonathan Tapia.
The tablet's not really working well. And then the clicker. Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Jonathan Tapia. First of all, I just want to give thanks to God for giving me this platform, Pima, the Chancellor, the Mayor for coming out tonight, my profile, Gagsola in the crowd, my mother, as we're celebrating Mother's Day for Hispanics. Just to get into the topic and kind of be more lighthearted because it is very serious. We do not have the resources in place in America to basically sustain a better living for other countries, such as Mexico, which they are doing the greatest that they can do. Like Lorena can tell you here, it's a way of living for them, and a lot of them do not have the finances, just the proper living spaces to work well in those. It's barely coming into fruition. My idea today is my idea for, let me get up here. Can't see you very well. With my intent to make it as informative and consistent as possible with themes important to me, like the topic here today, act locally, think globally. Being as the forefront of the problem solving that during this project, I'm grateful for having the time and opportunities embedded in this. Within my studies, it's important to present and be made known. Sharing some real sense from different professors through the semester. Further empowering the voices, since a lot of us were not heard. It's La Venta Tu Vas. It's an organization in California. They empower Hispanic communities with the intent to act locally in transitions to electric, because a lot of those communities are not recognized. They tell us to sustain electric, go green with your cars, but a lot of us, we cannot afford that in those communities. We can go into green colonialism and the Red Plus, which Lorena knows very well and researched very well. The environmental racism is persuasive throughout Tucson, as the topics here will be made known. Do Mexican Americans perceive environmental issues differently than Caucasians? A study of cross-ethnic variations in perceptions related to water in Tucson. So just as we spoke here on our panel with Rosie, it's persuasive. It's going on for years. We need the change, and it's great to have these platforms like this to come out and reach communities that really do not have ideas of it. And it's further, the research, it's government websites. You can go and do this research yourself. I would like to leave Gabby here. Aspire Change begins with you. Hello, my name is Gabby Felix. I unfortunately was not able to make it to the presentation, but would like to share a few important topics that I was able to research through our SCE group. I took away a lot from the project, especially better understanding of the importance of sustainability. At first, this was just another project and more group partners, but our group worked so well together and our project became passionate research. I learned so much while working with Lorena, Jonathan, and Arizela. We researched so many important topics that I encourage you all to read more of all and research through together, as we will only be sharing a few of our sources that made the most impact to us. I realized while working on this how important to work for change, to work to change things so it doesn't get worse. Some words I would like to share that I gained from this project is that you can either wish for change to happen or you can be that change. Mexican Americans and Latinos in general, climate action was the one topic that convinced me to share my work with others, as climate action doesn't just affect Mexican Americans and Latinos, but everyone. I hope you all take this to heart as we did as a passionate research project, and you continue to research these sources.
I really encourage everyone to look onto our classes project. It was a lot of work, a lot of hours, and there's a lot of videos and insightful information. So thank you so much, and enjoy the food, and thank you for coming out to support this year's summit.
No Q&A. Let's give them a warm round of applause for these panelists. And as a gift, we're going to give each one this water bottle. It says Pima Community College, and on the other side, it has the EGTSS logo. And are there any TUSD students left in the room? Okay, good, because I was going to say you need to go to have lunch because your bus is leaving at 12:30. Okay, so with that, I will pass it on to Francisca. Oh, yes, yes. The poem? Okay, I think she's going to respond.
Hello? Okay. The poem is called Let Us Gather in a Flourishing Way. And I'm happy to read it, but I don't know if we have the time, but it is called Let Us Gather in a Flourishing Way by Juan Felipe Herrera. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sorry
No, that's okay.
to say no. In fact, that's the only question for our Q&A because we are behind and we want to give you plenty of time for lunch to go out there and enjoy it. We will be back here at 1, and we will start promptly at 1:15, so you still have a good hour. We really appreciate your patience with the delays today, but we are back on time. And as you go out, just know your lunch lines are to the right, your bathrooms are to the left, and there will be volunteers out there to help you dispose of your things in the correct receptacles. So just please be conscientious about that and where you're disposing things, because you all are part of the solution to being sustainable, eco-friendly, and addressing our climate crisis. So I think that's it. If there was anything else, we'll get you on the rebound. Enjoy your lunch. You don't need a ticket for lunch. We will serve anybody and everybody. Just enjoy, okay?